I think it's important to have allies, but I also think it's important to identify when things are disconnected. This has been on my mind for some time, and I've kind of not sure if I should talk about it because people don't want to feel uncomfortable, and it's just not something people want to have a discussion on. I will tell you something my friend told me. She said, Pauline, somebody like you I need in my life because you say things that I don't necessarily have the words to express, but once you share it, then I'm able to expand on it. I want to be able to share and hopefully we all learn together. So I went to an event, and if you were to go on this particular organization website, I think 1 out of 6 or 7 out of this event in terms of leadership. I mean, I can only say what's on the website is a woman. So the 2 faces of this event are men. So basically, this is a 3-night, 2-day event that I attended. So I got invited to this women's leadership breakfast, and there was a lot of fluffy words and discussions in the agenda for the morning. And I was actually pretty excited for the prospect of not just meeting people in my space, but learning from them. It's unfortunate because I ran late. The event would have started at 7:45, which is 5:45 Mexico time. Now, I don't have numbers. You could just double check, but there's nobody else that I met who came from Mexico for this event, right? So my time difference, for the most part, a lot of people came from the Caribbean or they lived in Miami. So from there, I already start with something that some may consider, not necessarily, I don't want to say it's a negative thing. I would say it's a disadvantage because other folks are on the same time frame, right? So for me, the 7:45 was 5:45, but ultimately I'm not complaining. This is my choice. I came, I need to work hard, I have a business, right? So the previous night, we would try to extend in my networking, trying to really get value out of the entrance fee that I paid for this event. But unfortunately, I told Siri to turn off the alarm when she so kindly was trying to get me up at 6. So by the time I actually got up, it was 8-ish. So I had to rush and get ready. So by the time I went downstairs, it was 7:30 and the event finished at 9. So I was like, oh gosh, let me rush. So I came downstairs and like, hey, I met one of the persons who were helping the organization. And I said, where's the women leadership breakfast? And she said, okay, it's around this corner, but it's no longer just for women, it's for everybody. So I was like, interesting. I didn't think anything of it. And then, you don't know this about me, but I'm gonna share with you. When it comes to my stomach, that truly is the happiest place to my heart. That's the quickest way to my heart. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I want breakfast, because the previous morning, the breakfast wasn't great. It was a lot of cheese and I can't eat cheese. So I was like, okay, breakfast. I was thinking breakfast and I was thinking networking. So while I'm, talking to folks and having my breakfast, I realized these really nice mugs from one of the sponsors. I was like, oh, that's cool. That'll be great for me to come back to Mexico with, because I have a lot of stuff in Trinidad I haven't brought back and I don't want to buy again. So I was like, oh, this is cool, So in my, focus on networking and eating, by the time everyone was leaving, I didn't think about it, and I turned around and I was like, oh my gosh, there are no more cups. And I was a little disappointed. I asked one of the organizers, I was like, hey, are there any more cups? And he was like, let me check. Never got back to me, by the way, I'm still waiting. And then I asked someone else and they were like, no, that was it. And, a little bit of me felt sad. It's a cup. I know it seems silly. Anybody could go and buy a cup. It's not that big of a deal. But I thought about it in the context of the things that women have to go through that men don't understand, and we don't get the cups just because we're women, right? Okay, bear with me. Just jump on the bus with me. So for me, the disadvantage would be my time difference, having to come, getting up late and things like that. So for the majority, heterosexual men do not understand what it takes to stand up and, take an extra 40 minutes to get ready. You could sit down and then be like, well, you choose to do that, but I actually have data. I do live events. I had that same thought process. I was like, I don't feel like putting on makeup. And from the time I started putting on makeup, learning about makeup from drag queens and getting better at it, our viewership not only went up, but people stayed longer on the views. So you have these little things adding up. It's like, you know what it's like to have this expectation. And as well, how many men were told that they look gorgeous at a networking event. All of these things affect us as women, and that's why it's important for us to have our own space. And the fact that that event did not have that was quite disappointing, and it's a reflection on the haves and the haves not, because the numbers don't lie, right? The majority of money and wealth is with men. You know, they make a majority of the world decision. Like, that's not an argument, that's a fact. So if this group of individuals have access to these resources and they're not creating an allyship for us to feel comfortable, be able to talk about things they may not necessarily understand and feel heard, we're not gonna get access to the cup. I hope that you guys are understanding this discussion, but I think it's important for us to realize why there needs to be spaces specifically for minorities, specifically for people who don't have access or resources, you know, to certain things. And having an event that's supposed to be Caribbean focused, you can't have a Caribbean focused event without highlighting and giving women the opportunity to connect, you know. It seems so obvious to me. I was reading the IDB report about women and violence and how likely they are to be in entrepreneurship and how much harder it is for them. And this event didn't give me my cup. I'm laughing, but it's because I'm uncomfortable. All right. I would say for future event creators, management, for anyone in a space that will allow for allyship, give us a chance to get our cup. Yeah? All right. And on that note, I'll see you for the next one.